Looney Farm Guy here with a new mod test for Farming Simulator 22, and this is Herbicide Production by the MTL Modding Team. This is for all platforms, PC, Mac, and console. I'm on PS5, and 1.8 is the download space needed for this. Very small, and I think it's because it's a fairly standard building, slightly modified in design to make this factory, which is fine because we have a nice long out spout here, a nice large input area with no height restriction, and the triggers are all very nice. We have some extra space in here which isn't occupied by anything. You can use it for storage, for whatever, and a pretty nice design overall, not too large to take up too much room. So where do we find this little piece of factory? This little factory, well, we'll find it under productions and factories, and here it is, $170,000. So a substantial investment, but I'm sure it will pay off in the long run. And here we go. We can place it anywhere like so. The maintenance per day is $120, and we will go through all the aspects of this factory in this video. Let's see, let's turn on our help window. There we go. So our managed production point is right here. It takes us right to it. So this factory produces herbicide and also lime, and we'll explain that in a moment. Capacities: 100,000 liters of canola, manure, and potatoes is required, as well as lime for this recipe, as you can see here. 250, 250, 350, and 150. So some quick math, which I am incapable of doing. Let's add those up and see where we're at for a recipe. So 250 plus 250 plus 350 plus 150 equals 1,000 liters. So I guess I could have done that before, but it's pretty obvious now looking at it. So we actually end up with 200 liters extra product from this recipe, which is awesome. Of course. Now, it's interesting that no water is required. I'm not complaining, just interesting. I prefer to have less items in a recipe to make stuff. So what is going on here? Well, we have a nice recipe, 48 cycles per month and 1,200 liters per cycle. So a little bit of quick math I can do here. You're going to get about 50,000 liters of herbicide per month, which is more than plenty to do most things. Now, the lime is interesting too. We have a 100 in and 150 out. Again, very favorable recipe. Why is there a lime production? Well, if we notice here, lime required is 150, and you produce 150 per cycle here. So what you're doing here is, if you add some stones, you will make your own lime, and it will be enough to supply your recipe. Very nice, very intelligent. I like that. Now I have set two of them up because I have filled this one with lime to keep that separate, that production separate from the lime production. I have the second herbicide factory set up just to produce lime. Let's turn that on, and let's turn this on. And you can see lime capacity is 300,000 liters, which is a bit more than the capacity of others. Herbicide capacity, I'm not sure, so maybe we'll find that out. We will find out that shortly, or at least have a good idea. And the stone production, we turn that on, and we can see it's already producing stones. Now, input, as I said, is here. Output is over here. Now, I've already discovered something, but we'll discuss that in a moment as well. And I have also a few suggestions. I know the MTL Modding Team does watch my videos, and we've had some a very productive interaction in the past with some suggestions and some back and forth of ideas, and they are always very eager to improve and listen to suggestions and constructive suggestions and ideas for their mods. So a very good modding team, a very good modder there, of course, that always cares about their mods and always looking for ways to improve. Now, enough said about that. I have the other factory over there with producing the lime and the stones into lime, and we have the herbicide factory here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut away and go sleep, and we're going to come back and see where we're at. All right, we are back, and let us see what we have got here. So herbicide production, we see we have 55,000 liters, almost 56,000 liters of herbicide, which is very close to somewhat what I have predicted. And looking at this, looks like we're going to have about 300,000 liters of capacity for herbicide, being that's looking like actually a little less than quarter, so maybe even a little bit more than that, but plenty of capacity for herbicide, as you can see here. And our usage is small, if we can say, in comparison to what we got. Now, potatoes is going to be the most used out of this manure and canola. So we see that these will last quite some time, and it has used very little lime, of course, because, well, looking at the recipe, we can already predict the usage of all those different items. Now, looking at the lime production, again, very predictable, 150 liters per cycle. So we've ended up with 7,000 liters of lime. So it's not the fastest for lime production. I wouldn't get this solely for lime production, but it is helpful due to it's included, as we explained earlier, because lime is in the recipe for herbicide, and it will be enough to supply. So you don't have to buy lime, you can buy stones or collect them from your field if you wish, and insert them into this factory, and it will make the lime to supply the recipe. Very, very nice there. Now, let's hop into this, start it up, and we will see, now 55,000 liters of herbicide is a lot of herbicide. Unless you're, depending on what method you're using to spray the herbicide, you're going to produce way more than you're ever going to need. So we can remove the lime or the herbicide in this, because this tank actually also carries lime. That's another thing, another thing to talk about otherwise. But for the purpose of this test, as you can see here, herbicide is filling fairly quickly. We're going to stop that there, actually. We're going to see, can we put it back in there? No. So we cannot put it back in. Right. So, herbicide easily removed. That's good. Now let's go over, let's go back to this vehicle and grab the trailer. As you can see, we could remove the lime. It is a produced product. Now, here is the part where I make some suggestions. And it is a bit of a pet peeve of mine that if we come over here, the only thing we're going to get out of it is lime, which is fine because it does produce lime, and we can put it back in, actually, because it is something that the recipe requires. Now, here is my suggestion, or something that I have a bit of a pet peeve about factories, is we have put in the canola. Where's our work? There we go, herbicide factory. So we have canola, manure, potatoes, and lime. As it is now, I cannot remove the canola, manure, or potatoes. So if I have put too many of those or too much of those products in this factory, I will not be able to remove them if I need them for something else. Once they are in here, that is it. They must stay in there until they are produced or used by the factory to make the product. Same goes for the stones that I have put in here. The stones you are not able to remove them. You can only get the lime out of it. Right, so that is basically my major suggestion, or my major now this isn't exclusive to this factory. This is many of the factories don't allow you to remove product. It is just something that that is not common. There are a few that you can, and those are few and far between. So if that is a suggestion, I might suggest perhaps add that, and it will make this a much more user-friendly product. Although not that I'm saying it's bad as it is. It just adds to the extra usability of it. Now, there is one other thing. Oh yes, after a month there was about $500 in maintenance costs, and I can't remember. It says it's $20 per hour for production costs, so just expect some charges after a month for that. But the amount of herbicide produced, you will be well worth your while, and you can sell off the additional herbicide to make extra money. Now, there is one other thing in their description. In your description, fruits required, it lists canola by another older name that perhaps is something that's still acceptable in Europe or other parts of the world, but in North America, canola is now well named canola, and not that other name that starts with an R, which I will not repeat, because it represents, a part of that word represents something a lot different than what canola is. So if many of you know what I'm talking about, and some old farmers know what canola used to be called, and it is now could be viewed as offensive in many ways. Now, not to knock them, that is actually the actual word that was used for that, for canola, and I do remember it very well, and thought it was kind of strange at the time, even at a young age. But anyways, aside from that, there you have it. A very good mod overall, in my opinion, and another fine mod by the MTL Modding Team. That's the Herbicide Production by the MTL Modding Team. Only 1.8 megabytes to download, and only 15 slots on console. So very nice. Lots of interesting ideas, and some well thought out ideas, I do believe, and I look forward to any improvements that I am sure are to come later. Thank you all for watching. I'm Looney Farm Guy, and remember, it's only a game. So till next time, bye for now.